If you're one of the lucky ones, as a musician, there will be a time in your career where one of your songs catches like wildfire. And sometimes the lyrics resonate so deeply that it becomes an anthem of sorts, with fans taking to social media to dance to the rhythm in their cowboy boots. Such was the case for Dasha's viral hit, Austin. I'm your host, Tamara Dhia, and this is the Spout Podcast, where famous people spout off about more than what they're famous for. And today, that's Dasha. Dasha, hi. Welcome to Spout Podcast. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. Not as good as you, though, because you're out here living up the success of your breakout smash hit, Austin, which I've been playing on repeat myself. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, how does that feel? Like to have like this huge hit, you know, this is your first big breakout hit. I'm sure your life has been just kind of turned upside down a little bit at this point, right?
It's genuinely the craziest feeling in the entire world to know that like all my manifesting, all my hard work, like it's finally like paying off. Like this is insane. Like I put my first song out when I was 13.
Yeah.
It was my birthday present from my dad. Like I've been wanting this for a really long time, and for it to finally be happening and like this is like such a dream come true.
I love that when an artist breaks out on a global scale for the first time, a lot of people think it's like an overnight success. But like my favorite thing
You're
about
like, girl.
my favorite thing about overnight success is that it usually takes about 10 years to get there.
Yep.
You
That's the
mentioned
thing.
you started writing your songs at 13. I actually read that it was because of a Taylor Swift album that your mom got you. Is that true?
Yeah, so that was at age 8. I got the album. I learned all about how she wrote her own songs, and I got really into songwriting. I was super into poetry as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I loved the way words fit together, and I was a very dramatic child who had crushes on everyone I ever saw. So I had a lot to write about, and I started songwriting because I started playing piano and guitar around age 8, 10. And then, yeah, first song came out when I was 13. I just knew I wanted to do.
What kind of songs were you making at 13?
Like super country, like crushed. Like the first one I put out was called Talk to Me.
Uh-huh.
And it was like, talk to me. Like I was confused in the beginning about me and you. It was just like so like a little kid in love. It was really cute. It was tender.
What was that, like 8th grade?
8th grade.
All right.
Yep.
8th grade Dasha out here singing those love songs.
She was doing her best.
I love it. Well, she did pretty well because here she is today with a hit song. So let's talk about Austin. You know, is it about a real experience with a guy? And if so, is that person kicking himself with those boots right now?
Yeah, he's probably pretty angry. I haven't talked to him in a while. It is about a real person. Yeah. The details in the song are all made up. Like I didn't actually leave him in a bar in Austin. I didn't actually move to LA like that. I was in LA living, but it was a really real song for me because I'd realized I was putting up with all of his excuses. He was not treating me well, and it was kind of like a breaking point for me of like, wow, I like need to like move on with my life. Like this is actually pathetic. We're done. Like we're done. We're good.
Yeah.
And so Austin was kind of that encouragement song for me, and that's what I want my fans to get out of it too. So one of my favorite comments I've gotten is like, I got the courage to break up with my boyfriend last night because of this song.
Aw.
And I'm like, damn, that's so cool. I mean, hopefully it was toxic and not like a good thing.
Yeah.
But I'm like, oh God, please. But I know, I want to encourage my fans to be like the most unapologetic, badass version of themselves, you know?
Yeah,
So,
I mean, it feels like an anthem, like
yeah.
a bad bee anthem, you know?
Right? It's like my scorned woman anthem. It's like my before he cheats.
Yes,
you know?
exactly. No, totally. Like that's like the kind of like feeling you get from it, and it's like, you know, it feels very much like get your girls together, like sing this song.
Exactly. Austin's for the girlies. I'll tell you that much.
Yes, and
Austin's for the girlies.
you know, it's funny because you're not just an artist, but you're a savvy marketer. So I heard it was your idea to create the line dance for Austin and then post it to TikTok, which inevitably went super viral. So how did that idea come about?
That idea came about. I was talking to my manager one day, and I like go line dancing all the time in Nashville. I love it.
Yeah.
And I was like, God, Austin's such a fun song. Like it'd be sick to line dance to. And then the idea came of like, what if we got these honky tonk DJs to start playing Austin on Friday nights, and we like make up a dance and like try to get it into like the rotation at honky tonks, you know? So that's where the idea came from. And then also with the idea of like playing shows and looking at the crowd and seeing a whole mob of people line dancing would be the coolest thing in the entire world.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm going to make up the line dance. And so I made it up and started posting it online. And then people were just like, I want to do it. I want to do it. And then now 10 billion views later, we
Crazy.
are here.
Yeah.
So
Was there like a moment where you were like, oh my gosh, this is going super viral?
I think it was 3 days after I posted that first video, and I get this DM from this honky tonk DJ, and he was like, "Hey, like, I got like 10 people requesting your song last night at the honky. Do you have a step sheet? Here's a video of like 30 people doing it." He's like, "I want to teach it." And like that soon, people knew it and were like down to incorporate it into the honky tonk was like the North Star through the whole thing. And to like see that happening so fast was so cool.
Yeah. Have you had a moment where you got to perform it and you saw hundreds of people doing the line dance yet?
I haven't performed it and seen people do it yet. Some people, not hundreds. There's been like a group of 30 people doing it, which was sick.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to like really, work that culture into the shows for sure.
Yeah. Well, you got Lollapalooza coming up, so maybe it'll happen there.
I'm praying.
I'm always fascinated by the sonic trajectory of an artist's career because your debut album, Dirty Blonde, is actually more of a pop album. So when did that shift to country happen?
Happened beginning of last year when I released Dirty Blonde. I released it and it was the weirdest thing to admit to myself, but I was like, this album does not feel like me. I'd just outgrown what I'd written. It took me like 2.5 years to make that album. So I just changed so much as a person. And like I was saying, country's always had my heart. It's where I started, and I went pop kind of beginning of college when I started releasing more music and stuff. But it's always been about the songwriting for me, and I had this epiphany. I was like, oh my God, I need to be making country music. And so I kind of took that into these sessions when I was writing the album. And the album came out in a couple months so effortlessly. I wrote Austin in like an hour. Everything started falling into place in almost a comical way because it was like so easy writing these songs. And I was so excited about them. And so it was just yeses on all fronts. So
yeah, I mean, yeah. I love that it's becoming more common for us to see artists do genre switches. I mean, the biggest one probably with Beyonce, who also just went to country.
Yeah.
So I think it's like really great. And it's just like a mark of like artistry, really. Like, why would you want to stay in the same spot continuously through your
Exactly.
album?
Also, like, new things can inspire you as a person. Like, being an artist is so much about you as a person. And, like, you as a person, you change. That's just what happens with life. And to ignore that would be, like, not acknowledging your true artistry, in my opinion. So
yeah. I know you went to college in Nashville, but you are a native California girl. So has there been any pushback from country fans that perhaps, because you're not from the South?
Oh, for sure. People are like, you're not country. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm like, okay. Like, I don't know. The thing about country is it's like I said, it's all about songwriting for me. And my songs are very much stories and, very visual in your head and, has banjo and fiddle and mandolin. And like, that's just the stuff I love. Yeah. You can call it pop. You can call it country. I don't care. But I make country music. I'm from California. And that's just the way it is.
I feel like people...
I'm never going to please everybody, so... whatever,
Yeah. I feel like people forget that California was part of the Wild Wild West, which is like...
Yeah, also Northern California, so hick.
Yeah.
So hick. Like, hello?
Yeah, it's like all farms and like horses and...
Yeah, like I grew up riding horses. I did competition. Like, I'm a horse girl. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I love that. Wait, so were you good? Do you still ride?
I still ride. I do more like Western trail riding now.
Okay.
But I did like 2 competitions. I never was anything crazy. It was more for fun.
Still, I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, people that definitely see you as country are the Country Music Awards because you performed there recently, which I'm sure is the biggest dream for so many country artists. How was that being on stage there and performing Austin for the first time?
Being at the CMT Awards was the most surreal day of my entire life. Walking into the red carpet first, I wasn't sure what to expect because I was, I'm the rookie. Like, I'm the new kid on the block. I wasn't sure if people were going to know I was there, what's happening, because there's a bunch of fans just lined up, And to my surprise, people were screaming at me. I got so excited, I was screaming back at them. Like, it was like the most fun ever. And it just felt so real and like amazing to be somewhere and feel so accepted and like excited that people were excited I was there. And that's just like really all you can ask. But the performance was insane. It was crazy, like making eye contact with like all these people I look up to, like Jelly Roll and Kelsey Ballerini and like Lainey Wilson. I'm like, okay, here we go.
Yeah. I mean, that, like, what is that like, as an artist, like doing that, you've looked up to these people and now you're looking at them performing, you're performing your song. Are they singing your lyrics back to you?
Yeah, some of them were like, oh my God, I need to learn the line dance. You have to teach me. And I was like, oh my God, it's just cool that they know my song.
Yeah.
And it's wild, like being present in this community, because I love the country community so much. Everybody's so kind, and I'm just honored to be here. So
I love that. Were there any country stars that came up to you after your performance and were like, oh my gosh, you killed it? Like anyone that you were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening?
yeah, Lainey and I had a sweet moment. She was really encouraging. She's kind of felt like a big sister. We haven't really gotten to hang out too much, but when I've seen her, she's just been super encouraging and great.
Well, I'm sure you'll have more opportunities to hang out with her.
Yeah.
We talked about this last few months, I'm sure being a roller coaster for you from, performing at the Country Music Awards, and you also performed at the Jimmy Kimmel show.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you handling everything?
Jimmy Kimmel was insane. That was like my first Mama I Made It moment, because first late night TV show, first time on TV like that. And that was really, really soon into like Austin blowing up.
Yeah.
And so that was like, oh my God. Like I was like geeking the entire day. And my parents got to come down, my sister, my brother, all my friends were there. And then I got TMZ'd on the way out too. So like that whole day was just like a whole thing.
I feel like that's when you've made it, when TMZ's outside, like.
I know. I'm like, okay, let's go.
You recently teased a song called Loving Don't Mean Goodbye on your TikTok. Or sorry, Leaving Don't Mean Goodbye.
Leaving Don't Mean Goodbye.
Yeah, so you recently teased the song Leaving Don't Mean Goodbye on your TikTok. And that's not on your sophomore album, What Happens Now. So does that mean we have new music coming?
It does. It means it's going to be on my deluxe version that's coming late June.
Okay,
so
that's exciting.
I cannot wait for you guys to hear these songs. They're like my favorite songs I've ever written. I feel like my songwriting is just getting better, which is like such a fun thing to be able to say. The songs I'm making, it just feels so me, and it just adds a really fun level of like the new stuff I'm writing. So could not be more excited to show everybody.
Okay, that's exciting. So what else can fans expect from the deluxe?
Deluxe has 5 new tracks.
Wow.
They're very fun and upbeat. It's like a very summer deluxe. So we're going to have some fun with this one for sure. Yeah. The next single is called I'm Not at This Party. I'll tell you that much.
Okay, cool. That's exciting. Are we going to get more dances with these songs?
I was thinking about it. I don't know. Do you think I should? I haven't made my mind up.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, if it worked once, it can work again.
Exactly. True. Might as well, right?
Yeah. And you grew up as a dancer, right? Is that true?
Mm-hmm. 15 years of ballet. I was in the Nutcracker. I was on point. I was doing it all.
All right. Well, then dancing is natural to you, so it makes sense to fuse that with your music.
Yeah. I think I will. Okay, you convinced me. I'll do a dance.
Okay, yeah, I love that. So, obviously we've talked about blowing up, so quickly in this industry, like how you're feeling, how it's all coming out. What do the next couple years look like for you? Like in your mind?
In my mind, I mean, I want to be selling out international stadiums, I want to get out across the world and show everybody what I got. I just have so much to say as an artist, and it's really exciting because this is really just the beginning. And, I can't even wait to do headline tours around the U.S. Yeah. Hopefully later this year I'll be able to do that. But I don't know, to the moon. I'm just ready to do everything.
We love that. It's so exciting. All right, girl. Well, thank you so much. It was so nice to talk with you.
Yeah, you too. Thanks for having me.
This is almost disappointing to have to do remotely again after just seeing each other in person.
I know. Back to the screens we go.
Back to the screens we live. Yes. Eric Zachary and Tamara Dhia, Spout Podcast, our post-interview recap of kind of what's going down in entertainment music right now. Now, you wanted to bring this into the mix, but I feel like we're going to have very differing opinions here. So Apple Music put out their top 100 albums of all time. This isn't a new concept. Rolling Stone has done this for years. Pitchfork always infuriates everyone every year. We're all like, what? Why would you even pick that? Apple just put out a list, and I'm going to go ahead and inject my biased opinion first before you go, because I know where you're going to go with this, Tam. I think this might be one of the most inclusive lists of both old, modern, and from a genre perspective list I've ever seen.
I will
That part I
agree.
like.
I thought it showed a very wide range of genre, which I think generally is lacking in
Mm-hmm.
lists like this. That is the nicest thing I will say about this list.
So let's just run back the top 10 real fast, and then we can comment on it. Number 1, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. Number 2, Michael Jackson, Thriller. Number 3, The Beatles, Abbey Road. Love that. A lot of these lists will put the Beatles on the very top. And I feel like anytime I see that, even Michael Jackson at the very top, you're always kind of working with like okay, but can anyone ever beat it
Pun
kind of thing?
intended.
Number 4, Prince, Purple Rain. 5, Frank Ocean, Blonde. 6, Stevie Wonder, Songs in the Key of Life. Number 7, Kendrick Lamar, Good Kid, Mad City. Amy Winehouse, Back to Black, comes in at 8. Nirvana, Nevermind, 9, and then Beyonce entering the top 10 with Lemonade. I feel like that's the part.
No,
you're mad
no,
about
not at all.
initially.
I was okay. Look, first and foremost, I'm going to start with number 1, which is Lauryn Hill. Look, that's an excellent album, and arguably would be in anyone's top 10, top 20. But number 1 album of all time, I like it. Just
Yeah.
look, I've worked in media for a very long time. I worked at a company that did top 10, top 20, top 100 lists. What a lot of people don't understand that there's a lot of politics that goes behind these lists. So there's a lot of
100%, yes.
greasing of the palms. There's a lot of allegedly, yes, a lot of label
Allegedly.
conversations that happen. There's a lot of things behind the scenes that most of us are not privy to that happen that create lists like this. I think the biggest example of it is them putting Blonde on the top 10 and not Channel Orange, while Frank Ocean has Blonde Radio on Apple. So I'm not saying anything, but I am saying something.
Again, your mic's peaking. Okay, so we're kind of saying the same thing. If I look at these 100 albums that they included, I think this is probably the best compilation I've seen. I'm not agreeing on the order, but I am saying from a compilation standpoint, usually there's a lot of like really left or right field choices that I'm just like, what? I will agree with you. The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, while I do think top 10, I don't think number 1. I'm also upset that Bruno Mars didn't make it. Doo-Wops and Hooligans, I think, is the
100%.
top 100 album. I'm not saying anywhere in the top 10, but like, come on, top 100 for sure. Bruno's not on the list at all. That's the biggest missing standout to me. Beyonce top 10 with Lemonade, I think is perfectly fair. While Beyonce is a behemoth. I'm just gonna thank you, behemoth. I'm just gonna keep repeating this until you correct me. I don't know that any one collection of her songs deserves a number 1 of all time kind of thing, and I'm willing to take those shots that come from that. Same with Taylor. Taylor came in at 18 with 1989, which I think is very fair. Out of any single Taylor album, when you include sales, touring, just through stories, through lines, sing-alongs, bops, as stupid as it sounds, 1989 is her best album.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. I know Jordan, my co-host on my show, XYZ, was infuriated that Kanye came in at 26 with My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, but where was 808s and Heartbreaks? And I agree with that.
That's
and that was Kanye's only appearance on this list. Obviously, he's not exactly a fan favorite for a lot of these people. But
I mean, are we mixing
deny what he's
politics
done.
with music? You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, 100%. I mean, look, they did an overall good job of like putting certain albums on the list. The order to me was very strange. And I agree there was some very obvious snubs. So, look, at the end of the day, like if you're going to make a list like that, people are going to get upset because there's no universal list where everyone's going to be happy. But to have a list like this where it was just so obviously wrong, it almost feels like Apple was trolling us a little bit. And they were like, look, let's just throw some crazy curveballs in here so people talk about it, which is what's happening. Like, congratulations, we're here talking about it. So
And again, when you put it head-to-head versus Rolling Stone or Pitchfork's list, which are also infuriating, that's what they're there to do. I would take this list over that. But again, the order, there's always going to be different opinions. Moving on. Speaking of Taylor Swift,
who would you put as your top album? Which is a hard question to be honest. But
number 1. Thank you for always coming through with the follow-up. I did not want to be put on this spot. I'm the first one to raise my hand to say that I am not a huge album guy. I am very much more single based. And so when it comes to like compilations,
like bodies of work,
works of art, yeah, I've always struggled with, because I guess what's hard for me is I'll like a lot of the songs, and then when I hit a B-side, I'm like, it ruined the flow for me. I do think, okay, I can give you one. I want to make sure I get the title right because it came out a while ago. John Bellion's Human Condition, I think, is a fantastic album. That through and through is one of the few that I could probably offhand. Yeah. Clearly, I just Googled the name, but there's a lot of songs off of it that all work together. What I loved about it is at the end, he does what a lot of musicals do, and we've seen with some artists, is he kind of did this medley of all of the songs and the story that he's been telling throughout the entire thing. I think that's not a number one, but that's something that's snubbed. As far as the number one album, I don't know. Name it. Anything in the top 10 I could argue or argue against, literally. But I think, you got to have Prince and Michael Jackson in that conversation no matter what.
I mean,
what about you?
I mean, not to date myself, but I'm an 80s baby. I grew up, with Michael Jackson. So it just felt like it felt like a political move to put him at number 2. And I get it. But if we're, talking about music, like, especially back then, for it to have really crossed the globe like that before social media, it was truly just the power of the music that touched billions of people around the world. And that's something, that was never replicated without social media. So if we're talking about impact and legacy and longevity, not putting Thriller at number 1, even though it is the obvious move, but it's obvious for a reason, So yeah, I would say Thriller for sure.
Okay, I can agree with that. That's a respectable.
Thank you.
Listen, I wouldn't be mad if Thriller was number 1, but I do understand like wanting to advocate against like there's never going to be a better album ever again.
Yeah,
I think right now there's not.
I do think
in terms of, again,
I do
what you
think
just
that
said.
there could be a better album. Like, we're getting great bodies of work from so many artists, but at this point in our lifetime, yes, it has not been replicated. Yes.
We'll wait
I'm
and
hopeful.
see. We'll wait and see. And I'm telling you right now, and it's not Taylor, it's not Beyonce, it's not Billie. I love all three of them, but none of those are a top 10 or top 5, like no matter what, of all time album.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll see. Because a lot of it has to do with how it ages,
yeah, totally.
Speaking of Billie and Taylor, too, there's been some drama here. I'll let you introduce it,
I mean,
Tamara.
as everyone knows, Billie Eilish and Taylor Swift have released 2 of the biggest albums of this year. Everyone's been talking about it. Everyone's been listening to it. There was a little bit of a skerfuffle this past week. Is it? I've been pulling out like random words lately. It's like a kind of my word of the day I'm using, skerfuffle. There was a skerfuffle over the past week amongst Taylor Swift's fan base and Billie Eilish's fan base, because it seemingly seemed from the outside that Taylor Swift was re-releasing versions of her songs so that her album could maintain the number 1 spot on the Billboard Hot 100, whereas Billie Eilish was really angling for that number 1 spot, and deservedly so, because her album is incredible. So there seemed to be a bit of a back and forth. Billie Eilish released a second version of one of the songs to help boost the album once again a few days later. In the end, the Swifties reigned supreme, and Taylor Swift ends with number 1 for the week. And Billie, despite her best selling album to date, and I would even arguably say her best album overall to date, came in at number 2 with, I believe, a differential of about 40,000 units between number 1 and number 2, which is very tight. And if Taylor had not done that, I do think that Billie would have gotten number 1. And if I'm being honest, she deserved number 1. It is an excellent album. She is so supremely talented. For me, we're talking about albums previously, about bodies of work. This felt like a cohesive body of work from front to end. Not to anger the Swifties, but the Tortured Poets Department, for me personally, felt not like that at all, and not one of my...
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think the Taylor, I don't, and again, I'm not claiming to be the top Swiftie. I know I'm more of a Swiftie than you. But I see that as more of a collection of short stories as opposed to one through line where, Billie's Hit Me Hard and Soft definitely has a start, middle, and an end,
and
for sure.
we'll go back to this. Like, I think Taylor's out, like 1989, incredible. Red, incredible. Like, this just wasn't, this past album was not the album for me, and that's okay. But, you know, obviously.
Did it deserve to continue to keep Billie off of a number one spot? I agree. I don't want to infuriate fans based off of rumors
Correct.
and knowledge that
this
we
is
don't
all,
have. Obviously, we never
rumored.
know if it was intentional or not. Yeah. It's all rumored. I do find it wildly interesting that it's not that, while on paper they're competing labels, you know, Billie's Interscope and Taylor's Republic, they're both under the Universal Music umbrella. And I don't think it's a secret that when you're that big of a star, even though Republic may be your label, or, you know, Interscope maybe, you're still working with the UMG
totally
team, right? I'm shocked they let it happen. And again, maybe nothing was let happen. Maybe this was planned for both, and both artists are, you know, independent in their own right and decisions, and say, no, this is going to happen this way, because they are past, you know, the influence of the label, both of them. But knowing what I know about music labels in the music industry, I'm shocked that UMG wasn't like, hey, Tay, let's do a re-release next week. Like, can we just work
I mean,
this
she
out
could have
a
pushed
little
it one
bit?
week. We all know that Taylor would have come right back to number one. Like, it's if she knocked down 1 week, she would have come right back, you know? So I think it...
Right. Especially considering the release date was very deliberate. I'm sure Billie pushed her release when she found out Taylor, or Taylor moved hers up when she found out Billie. Like, that is real things that happen. And it's not, you know, a slight to either artist. This is actually it's a game. It's a chess game when you're trying to maintain certain chart positions and numbers and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's very intentional. And I do feel like there was enough of a buffer between the two that you're kind of like,
it felt a little weird. I mean, just to your point, I mean, Drake even rapped about it in one of his disses that he was going to move the only person he would move his album back for is Taylor Swift. You know, it's a very understood thing in the album release world. So yeah, I agree. Again, this is all rumored. We don't know for fact, but it feels a little wonky to me.
Little wonky. Yeah, sorry, I'm laughing not at you. My co-host and producer from my other show decided to stay out of the camera shot, so he just crawled across
Thank you, Jordan.
the floor. And if you're hearing this and going, what are they talking about? Don't forget, you can always watch the Spout Podcast and our video versions of our conversations by searching Spout wherever you get your podcast, and of course on YouTube as well. Look at that plug.
I know,
it's like I know
you've
what
done
I'm
this
doing
before.
or something.
Who knows?
Right. One last title. I actually didn't even know this was a headline that you just brought to me right before we started recording, that Pink Panthers has said that she doesn't believe songs should be longer than 2 minutes.
I mean, look, you know, I think this is a point where, like, I feel very, like, old in the music world, because that's just a very young statement. And it's a statement that I feel comes from the perspective of an artist that creates for social media and not for longevity, as we were just talking about in terms of music and albums. She's an artist. I am not. Yeah. So she understands how to make her music, and that's what she believes for herself. And God bless her, that she understands, like, her own sound, and she has some bops. Like, so I'm not even going to take that away from her. Like, I actually like Pink Panthers, but from the perspective of just being artistry, which is what music is at the end of the day, it's not just about business. It is about art. That feels like a strange thing to say.
It's an odd statement. It's a declaration that doesn't need to be made, certainly from someone in her position. When, yes, she has weight behind her name, but no, she is not anything near a heavyweight in the industry yet, could become. You know, generally, it's been widely accepted across all genres. Your average single length is about 3 minutes. Obviously, you're going to have songs that come in under and songs that go over. Lord knows that our older generation, you know, born in the 50s and 60s, that love to have rock songs that lasted 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 minutes. If I'm in a bar and Bohemian Rhapsody comes on by Queen, love the song. I immediately was like, I got 8 minutes to come back before this is over. I just know
That's
that.
Your bathroom break?
One of my best friends plays in a band. Yes, literally. I'm like, I got time. I'll be back by the time this actually goes off.
That's funny.
I'm dead serious. And that's not the only song like that, right? Stairway to Heaven, too. This has been an ongoing thing. And there's always going to be songs that break those boundaries. Obviously, Taylor Swift, coming back to her, All Too Well, 10-minute version. There's songs that are built on TikTok and Instagram right now off of a hook, and they don't know how to make a song longer than 1 minute and 45 seconds, and that's okay. I just don't believe that we need to declare, Pink Panthers say music should not be longer than, everyone's entitled to their opinion. But you are you should be held to a certain level of responsibility that you don't speak for all artists. And she
I mean, I don't think she thought she was doing that. You know what I mean? You know how it is. Like you're in interviews and
none of the early 20-year-olds think that
yes,
they're
exactly.
doing
Like
any
she's
of that
young. She's going to figure.
Yes. I'm shaking my fist at the sky right now.
Old man yells at cloud.
Like, come on, man. Yes.
No,
literally.
I mean, obviously, as you mentioned, she's so young. She's still very early in her career. She's going to make missteps and say things that she's going to receive a backlash for, which she is currently right now. And she's going to move forward and be like, oh yeah, okay, maybe I should maybe think a little bit further before I say certain things to the press that could be taken in a certain direction. Especially like you said, like a blanket statement like that about music, which is, I would like to dive deeper into why she thinks that. I didn't get to hear the entire thing. I saw the headline. So, I would imagine she has some reasoning behind it.
Well, the reasoning is "Boys a Liar" is her biggest single, and that's 2 minutes and 11 seconds. So she's like,
I mean, look at
that's
there's also a streaming element to this, in that people will stream a 2-minute song multiple times versus, like you mentioned, the 6 or 7 minute song, which they're going to likely play once if they even get through the whole thing. If they're kind of a newer, their brains are built in this new day and age where their attention spans are a little bit shorter.
Yeah. Do you prefer watching a movie or a TV show, out of curiosity? I'm going to tie this together.
You know, normally I would have said movie, but lately I've just been binge watching TV series. So I'd have to say, which is weird because the idea behind it is strange. Like me sitting down for a 2-hour movie is like, oh my God, I don't know, I can't do 2 movies, but I can binge watch like 6 episodes, which is way longer. So I don't know what the brain behind that is.
Yeah. It's that trick thinking, because when people will go like, you only have the attention span for 30-minute episodes or 1-hour episodes, a storyline, at least, something that's a serial, show, is going to last much longer than any.
Yeah.
movie.
What about you? What's your preference?
And I think shows always. I've always preferred through lines of shows and story arcs as opposed to movies, because movies I will always see where they rushed and they cut corners. And as an editor myself that's edited both film, TV, and quick content, I can see like, oh, they cut a lot out of this that they could have included.
I do still love movies, although I can't remember the last time I sat down and watched like I still haven't seen Dune 2.
The last movie. I never saw Dune 1. I actually just watched the movie, which is a rarity to me. We're so far off the rails here, but like we're at time, so we're gonna just throw this in there. Once again, thanks for listening to Spout Podcast. I just saw, and this kind of relates back to music, is The Idea of You. That's the Anne Hathaway movie
on
that just
Amazon
came out,
Prime.
the
How was
rom-com. I wildly surprised how good it was. I mean, I shouldn't be. I like Anne Hathaway. I think she's an incredible actress, and I don't know why I thought that she would sign on to anything less than what she would expect to be good. That wasn't Les Mis, but it was very, very good. I think it's because the Sydney Sweeney, Glenn Powell.
I did see that. That might have been the last movie I saw. Anyone But You.
Anyone But You movie. Thank you. Anyone But You. That felt wildly tropish. They just, they were trying to make the new rom-com, but it was a little too hokey for me. The parents smoked weed, it was same-sex couples. There's nothing wrong with any of that, but it was just a little too like, let's check every single box possible because this is a 2024 rom-com. The Anne Hathaway one was interesting to me. If you don't know, the basic is she's taking her daughter to a concert, but her daughter's a teenager, doesn't want to get caught with her mom at Coachella, and she essentially falls in love with one of the boy band guys. And it's kind of
like Harry Styles and Olivia Wilde.
Harry Styles, except she's not famous. She lives in LA and has a nice car. But I don't know what. So does everyone.
Maybe I should fall in love with a boy bander. They're a little too young for me, but go ahead, Anne Hathaway.
Or a little too old. Hey man, I mean, some of those NSYNC guys are around, I'm sure.
Maybe like the 12-year-old version of me would be excited by that, but unfortunately the adult version of me has outgrown it. Wait, did you go see? Oh no, we talked about Justin Timberlake already. You didn't go see him yet. Okay.
He has not been to Chicago where I'm at yet. I see him in a couple weeks.
So I actually was at my friend's house for
a
Memorial Day yesterday, and they had just gone to Justin Timberlake's show here in LA, and they said it was one of the best concerts they have ever been to. And they're in the industry, so they go to a lot of shows. So I feel like you should be excited by that.
Mm-hmm. the production everyone is saying is like it's killer. Like it's that. I mean, NSYNC was always kind of known for that. So for him to bring that back for his show, whether you like him or not, he's playing every hit he's ever had, and the production and stage performance is, from what I've seen, I may have watched a couple hours of this on YouTube, is very impressive. So I'm happy to give you a proper review once I see it. All right. Yes. We've talked long enough. Tamara, love you. Appreciate you. It's the Spout Podcast. Again, if you're hearing this, you can see it too. Check us out on YouTube. If you're seeing this, you can hear us too, wherever you get your audio on demand.
Bye.
I'll talk to you later. Bye.